Hey y'all, ooh, well, let's do that again. Hey y'all, long time no see. Y'all already know how this goes, so let's just get into the story. Y'all already see the title, so y'all know I got things to talk about. So I am gonna be vlogging. I have vlogged this whole trip too, so if you want to watch the vlog, go watch the vlog. If you don't, I really don't care, but I know some of y'all gonna want some context as to what was happening. Of course, some of the things that y'all gonna hear in the story is like, I'm not gonna record that. Like, why would I record it? And some things obviously I didn't get the chance to, so it was just like, yeah. So anyways, Paris was a disaster, but let's be clear, my Paris trip was a disaster. As you know, I spoke about this multiple times. I don't know if I posted the videos yet speaking about it, because it is kind of still fresh, but basically I moved from Atlanta back to New York, and my mover, the moving company that I hired, Hello Movers USA, and I'm gonna keep putting their name out, so I hope y'all give them horrible reviews. Y'all go and spam their reviews. Spam their reviews. I'm gonna make a whole separate story time on just them alone, but just do me that favor and spam their reviews, because they really got me and it was real messed up. But anyways, they lost my clothes. They lost my summer clothes, y'all. What? They lost my summer clothes. Not only did they lose my summer clothes, they lost my summer clothes right before my trip. I know some of y'all like, tell the damn story. This is a part of the story. Wait. I had a whole mental breakdown. Guess what? All of this happened on a Saturday. So guess what? They're closed. The moving company is closed. Now, like I said, I'm gonna make a whole separate story time about this whole situation, but this plays a very big part in the story. So of course, if my clothes is missing, I can't do Paris the way I want to. So my spirit was already down, and then I'm not gonna be working because we went to Paris and London for almost 2 weeks, which means I was not gonna be working, and most of my money went to this whole moving process. Within the whole moving process, I spent, oh my God, I feel like I'm telling y'all too much of the damn story, but y'all see that story time, because that's his whole horror story time within his own. I'll probably make that tomorrow or something. I'm gonna get these videos to y'all. Anyways, don't got my stuff. What am I gonna do? Everybody around me is consoling me. I'm just like, I should not go on this trip. You know when everything just going wrong and you just like, I just feel like God himself is like, hello, don't go. And everybody was just like, go enjoy yourself, do this, do that. And I'm like, no, I should not go. My responsibilities not in order. My priorities are not in place. Like, I should not be going. Everybody's like, go, just enjoy yourself. Worry about it when you come back. Go, okay, so I packed what I could. All right, cool, we get to Paris. We get to the airport. Y'all. We standing at the place where you give them your passport and you check in your bags and stuff like that. And we wound up standing. We're waiting. We're at the front desk. We're waiting, and we're still waiting. Like almost an hour and a half, now almost 2 hours. We're still waiting. Mind you, we're talking with the lady. Long story short, they said something about my mother passport with her marriage name and I guess her maiden name didn't match on the passport and ID, but my mother's like, look, I'm married, that's why that's the case. Is there somebody we could just speak to real quick to change that? Which they should have had somebody who could do that. They did not. They had the lady calling all different types of people. She wasn't helpful. She was very rude. She was pulling her, like, how can I describe her? My mother was like, hi, because we were just standing there looking at her like we was dumb. Mama's like, hey, do you have any? Because my mother, she's just like me, like, but she's a little bit worse. Her temper, yeah, she has a temper. So she tries to do the right thing before she flips, because she always looks like the bad guy when she flips, because she drags it, which I understand, but you know, to other people it looks kind of crazy. So my mother's like, hey, do you have an update? Because the lady just holding the phone to her ear, just talking, scrolling on Instagram. The lady's like, me and my mother looked at each other, but we also looked at each other like, so if you don't get what that means, it's like, did this? Don't do it. One of those, right? All right, cool. Long story short, we waited there for 2 hours just for them to tell my mother that her passport expires within the next 3 months, so she can't go. We waited there for 2 hours just for them to tell my mother she could not go to this trip. This is a family trip. This trip included me, my mother, my stepfather, my sister, my little brother, and my grandmother. and my sister's boyfriend. My mother is the one who planned this whole trip in the first place, so she was the most ecstatic about this whole trip. So for her not to go, it was so devastating. My mother was crying, my sister hysterically crying. I'm very, very, very upset, but I can't start crying because I gotta be there for my sister. Like, you know, I don't want to do that. I gotta be strong for my mom. Like, you know, it was a whole thing. Mind you, shout out to the supporter who saw me in the airport, and shout out to the other supporter who helped us at the little baggage claim thing. He came up to me, he was like, Miss Ferris. I was like, hey. He was like, hey. He was very sweet. So if you see this video, shout out to you. We did ask him to help, and he was more helpful than that girl. But we couldn't get no help. But shout out to you, thank you so much. And the other girl came up to me like, oh my god, I'm such a fan of you, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Y'all know how I felt about that fan word, but it was really sweet. And my sister swear I'm Beyonce, which she's not. Lying. Nah. But yeah, I appreciate y'all and everything, because this was before we found out my mother couldn't go, and we were still trying to do what we could. But good, that was kind of the highlight of the airport situation. Anyways, moving on. So my mother can't go now. She got to try to figure out. We are in Paris. Yo, the trip was scheduled for Paris from Saturday to Friday. So my mother had to do the most to try to get to Paris within that week. You know how hectic it is to try to get your passport renewed within that same week of your trip? Because everybody know when you want to get a last minute expedited passport, your trip has to be within 2 weeks or you can't get it. So it was just like, it's, first of all, it's very hard to get an appointment. It's very hard to do a lot of things when it comes to the passport. So that was already like a big headache. So now we get on the plane, everybody's trying to be in good spirits, you know, and we're trying to make something work, but it's just nothing feels right, and it feels so weird. I'm just like, me and my siblings, we're very attached to my mother, so her absence was very much known, and we still wound up doing things. We still went to the Eiffel Tower, we still wound up seeing little we still did a boat ride, we still did some tours, like we still did a few things, but it just wasn't the same without my mother. And it's like, you know, she was very distraught, and I felt so bad for my mom. Like she was very distraught, and I felt so bad for her, but it was just like, what could you do, right? So now we're there. My grandma, like, I know this is a little TMI, I'm not gonna go into it too much, but if you or your loved ones are experiencing, well, not you, I doubt anybody with dementia will be watching my videos, but you know, when you have a family member that has dementia, you know the different side effects that they can have. And let's just say my grandmother kept turning, y'all. My grandmother was turning. You know, they very paranoid. Some of them are violent. My grandmother's not violent. She never did that or anything, but this is some of the side effects. You know, they get very forgetful. They get very angry because they feel like, you know, you're trying to treat them like they crazy. They could be very delusional. Like, it's a lot that comes with it, and we already had a lot of stress on our backs, and my grandmother just kept turning, having these little episodes and stuff like that, and it was just like stressing me out, because I'm just like, I never seen my grandmother act like this before, because I've been in Atlanta, I've been all over the place, so I haven't been in close touch with my family, so this is still pretty new. My mother, she been doing this like for years, but this is new to me. Mind you, I'm already frustrated because I lost my damn clothes. My mother is not here. I'm gonna be gone for so long without working. I don't like not working for a long period of time. That stresses me out. And then now my grandmother's getting angry. She's thinking that she saw this when she didn't see this. She think people trying to set her up, and you know, she just keeps having all these episodes, and it's just like, I'm so used to my grandmother being such a, like, you know, calm, chill person, which she still is, but you know, when they turn and have their moments, that's what happens. So, you know, me and my grandmother shared a few words. Of course, I would never like really go off on my grandmother, even though I've kind of had to, but not in that type of way that y'all thinking. I would never curse in front of my grandmother. Nah, I might one day, but I never cursed in front of my grandmother so far, and I would never curse her out ever. I would never do that. But she was just pissing me off, because I'm just like, grandma, please, like, you're not helping the situation. And she just was getting mad about things that either were not happening, or that literally was out of everybody's control, or just adding to the stress. Like, it was like taking care of a child. And once again, like, no offense to my grandmother, I love my grandmother to death. You know, she sacrificed so much for us and everything like that, but I'm just being raw and honest with y'all. This is just something that happens, that I do want to bring more awareness to, you know, people with dementia, because it's not easy. I'm pretty sure it's not easy for them to be dealing with it. Some of them don't even feel like they have it, and they just feel like you're just trying to put something on them. But I really, my heart goes out for the people that have to take care of their loved ones with dementia, because it's really not easy, and especially if you're already going through a lot in your life and you're taking care of them, you know, I commend y'all, because it could be very heartbreaking to watch, you know, especially watching them deteriorate like that. But, you know, not too much on that. But yeah, that happened. So then one of the days we was in Paris, because I was still, here's my thing, I just felt like if I'm gonna go to Paris, I want to be chinchilla, Fendi shades, the bag with the you know, and if it's summertime, I got on my nice floral dress, well, not floral, but my nice flowy dress with a nice wig with like some expensive, like, it don't have to be expensive, but but basically I just wanted to be dressed down, like I wanted to be serving looks in Paris, and it's just like it did not give that, y'all. Like, it just wasn't giving. I forgot to pack my heels, because I packed like the last 2 hours, because I literally, that's when I realized that my stuff was missing. That's when I came to the conclusion that my stuff was missing. Mr. What is you looking at? Sorry, y'all, I was looking at my car like, Mr. Go drive a bus. Anyways, so I was wearing the most basic stuff, like, and then I just felt like, how am I in Paris right now for the first time, and this is how I'm dressed? And granted, it was cute. Like, I put my little ones and twos. As y'all see, I posted this picture right here. I did my little walk in front of Eiffel Tower, but that's not how I wanted to do it. And it was just kind of like, to me, it just came to the moment where it was just like, you know what, just enjoy the fact that you even here right now. Like, it's a blessing that you even here right now experiencing this. This is not gonna be a last time coming to Paris. Like, just try to enjoy yourself, you know. Like, it's a lot of unfortunate situations happening right now, but you'll be all right, whatever. So now one day I took off because my grandmother was stressing me out, and then my mother, you know, she was very absent. She didn't want to talk to nobody. She was just trying to figure out her situation, and you know, it's just sad going these days on and on and on in Paris. And also, I just felt like I wanted to be in Paris a certain way, and I just felt like, you know, I just wanted to be out there doing more luxurious stuff, and we were just doing more, like, you know, because we have a baby, we have a 12-year-old, like, we have my grandmother. They want to do a lot of tourist things, like, you know, they want to see monuments and museums and, you know, stuff like that, take bus tours and stuff like that, which is nothing wrong with that, of course. And Paris has a lot of history in it as well. I'm pretty sure we saw more history in London, but that's a different story. But I didn't want to do that, so to speak. Like, I didn't mind doing that, but I wanted to do Paris so much filthier. Like, I wanted to go crazy in Paris, do a little bit of everything, basically, is what I'm saying. So see the historic side of it, because I've never been, but I also want to go to, you know, all these famous shops and stores and shop in Paris and everything like that, and it just wasn't working out like that. Did you know, if you want to take the train in Paris, which I hated that we took the train in Paris, because why are we taking the train in Paris, y'all? No shade. The train in Paris is like the 3 train in New York, a subway, nothing special about it. So it was just kind of like, I know I'm not dressed up to be on a train right now. And like I said, the circumstances of everything, everything had to switch, being that, you know, everything was going on, but it was still like, damn, like, I'm dressed up, we on the train, like, and it was easier to get around, because, you know, when you have a big family, everything could be very expensive. Like, it could be hard to get Ubers and stuff like that. It was hard for us to get Ubers to carry all of us, because they was like, no, I can only do passengers up to this amount. So it was hard, and the train was more convenient, but I was just like, get me on the train. My grandma didn't want to be on the train either. But did you know, when you go to Paris, you have to, if you want to buy a weekly pass for the train, that you have to take a photo. You got to get on the line, buy the weekly pass, go to a photo booth, take a photo that may or may not go through, make that payment for those photos that may or may not take, and then once you get your pictures, they want you to cut one of 6 photos. Thank God my sister had a scissor on her, but one of 6 photos, I swear if I had the thing, if I get a picture of it, I'll show y'all. But you have to do the most. You got to make like your own little special pass, put it in the plastic, and then shove your ID picture. It kind of looked like an ID picture, but with mad extra stuff going on. Like, you got to make it. It was like arts and crafts. 2 hours it took us to do. Almost, no, I'm lying. Almost 2 hours it took us to do. For a pass? Are you serious? We were standing there for so long trying to get this to work. I was just like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. I can't believe this is happening right now. But like I said, y'all, when you think it can't get no worse, it did. So now we doing the past thing, you know, this, that, and the third, whatever. All right, cool. I'm looking at my mother's location one of these days. I'm like, why you over there? She's like, you so nosy. So me and my mom was in cahoots. Long story short, my mother wound up making it at the very last day of the trip, like the middle of the day before we was about to leave. So we were supposed to leave that morning. She came like midday the day before. So she surprised everybody. You know, my sister was happy, I was happy, like we was all very happy my mother was there, because my mother is literally the glue of everybody. Just imagine, which I want to say this in a very sensitive way, but just imagine, I'm not talking about like death wise, because I know a lot of people lost a lot of people, so I'm not saying it like that, but whoever's the glue of your family that's of course still living, imagine you going on a big excursion or a big whatever trip, whatever, and the glue is now not there and everybody has to figure everything out, because usually they be the one to figure everything out. You be like, look, I'm gonna chill out, you ask me for something, I'm helping you, but I'm chill out. So it was a lot, you know, especially with the baby too. So all right, she winds up getting there. Actually, scratch that, let's move back a little bit. So I stayed in a hotel, I believe, the day before she came, because you know my grandmother, her moods and her mood switches and paranoia and everything, it was just so overwhelming for me, and my sister dealt with it way better than I did. So I let her take care of that, because I felt my top was about to blow off, like because they get so mean and disrespectful and just, you know, and sometimes it's like it's really not their fault, because they don't even know. Like I said, the dementia thing is a lot, but it was just too much for me to handle. I'm already stressed out about so much stuff. I cannot deal with this right now. So I'm in a hotel room. Mind you, I just kept hearing knocks at the door, and I'm already paranoid because I know a lot of these hotel rooms and Airbnbs be having like hidden cameras. Y'all know I'm so paranoid. I be thinking about like all that stuff. So I'm just like, damn, should I check for cameras or whatever the case may be? I didn't even thoroughly check, but I know all the days, I was just like, I don't know what it is about me and being in places, but everywhere I go and lay my head at, there's noise upstairs. There's always noise up everywhere I go. There's stomping, there's noise. It sounds like everybody's having a damn parade in the apartment and stuff. Everywhere I go, I'm like, why is there so much noise upstairs? Then I felt like I kept hearing like faint knocks. I'm like, what is that? What is that? So I'm just like, maybe I'm bugging. And when my anxiety, when I can't sleep, you know, as comfortable as I want to, not saying the bed wasn't comfortable, but when my mind is thinking too many things about my surroundings, I get anxiety and I cannot sleep properly. So it's like I would sleep, but I couldn't comfortably sleep, because it was just like I feel like I gotta keep one eye open at the same time, you know. So as the days go by, I kept going to the door, nobody at the door. All right, whatever, maybe I'm bugging, maybe they knocking on the door next to mine and it just sound like they bang. I don't know, I made something up. So then now I hear like knock at my door. I'm like, that's funny, because my whole family went out and did whatever they did. So now I'm really confusion. So I'm sitting there, I look to the people, of course I'm very quiet. It's a man in a black shirt, and I'm just like, who? And he's like, I have to tell you something. And I was like, no. He's like, I have to tell you something. I was like, no. I was like, no, I don't need it. No. He was like, then he just kept knocking. I was just like, no, like I just said no. And then took something from like out of the peek hole, like I couldn't see what it was, like on the floor by the door. But I was like, what the? Mind you, I was about to get up and go get me something to eat, but after that I was like, absolutely not. So then when I called my mother, I was like, yeah, I told her everything that happened. So I called the front desk while she was there, and she was like, oh, I was like, yeah, some weird guy came knocking on my door talking about he gotta tell me something. And I was just like, mind you, I don't even remember if I had that thing on my door, which I probably didn't. But when I told her, she was like, oh yeah, he had a striped shirt on, right? Because they basically, she was saying like they come around to make sure the cleaning ladies thoroughly cleaned the room. But I was just like, no, he had on a black shirt. She was like, okay, I'm gonna look into it and call you back. Never called me back, y'all. Never called me back. I just thought that was weird, and I'm just like, even if he did work there, after I said no, because I said no so many times, why are you still saying you gotta tell me something? And why are you saying you gotta tell me something? Like, what? That's not proper etiquette for someone who's supposed to be like providing you a service. Like, that's what scared me, y'all. When I tell y'all I ain't need that hotel room for the rest of that day, I was starving. I be hearing all these stories about people traveling to these foreign countries, and these people be on BS, and I ain't gonna be the one they make an example of. Not gonna be me. So I was just like, yeah, that was weird, whatever. I was already over Paris, to be honest, so I was already just ready to go chow. Anyways, so my mother comes, everything works out, all right, cool. Now we decided to, you know, let my mom and my stepfather at least enjoy a morning in Paris, at least, right? So we didn't even have the transportation set up for us to get to London for whatever reason. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but I know we was deciphering between the train, the bus, and the plane. Once again, it's like 7 of us plus a baby. So these things are so expensive, especially going to a place like Paris. It's kind of like, what do you really expect, you know? So it was just like, all right, well, we gotta find out like what's best for all of us, right? So we considered taking a bus, which was 8 to 10 hours, and I was just over that because I was like, it already took us 9 hours to get here. Oh my god, I missed a major part. Let me just throw this in here real quick. On our commute from New York to Iceland, and then Iceland to Paris, because we had to take a connecting flight, or was it a layover flight, whatever, we had to take that. When we got to Iceland, they was looking at us like they never see black people before. I don't know if anybody watching ever been to Iceland before. I don't know how your experience was, and Iceland is somewhere that I wanted to visit as well, but they don't got that much black people out there, so they was just looking at us like we was like unreal. Like, I can't make this up, and we looking like, what are y'all looking at? I seen a lady with her phone up. She had the phone with like the flip thing, like, you know how them older people, they be having those phone cases where you can like flip it closed. She had it open, so it was just kind of like, what is going on? Like, she was literally recording us, and I was like, maybe I'm bugging, whatever, but when I walked past her, she was definitely recording, because I looked at her phone and it was recording. I said, wow, from all the eyes looking at us to now you recording us. And then my sister was like, oh, some ladies were looking at my butt and all, like, oh my god. I mean, I know I'm thick and all that, but you ain't never seen a little piece of, like, you know, girl. I was just like, I was already like, I ain't like the fact that they was looking at us. Some was looking in disgust, some was looking like they just never seen black people before. The fact that the lady was recording was disgusting. It was just like, ugh, ew. So now speed up, back to the bus. So now we do the bus, we get all our suitcases, this, that, and the third, boom, boom, boom. Our bus is 1:30. We should get to London in the morning. My mother, my stepfather was going to take a flight, and we all could get there around the same time. That would be, you know, a good plan, right? No, we get there, first of all, it's very late. It looked like the Greyhound. If you're from New York, that's kind of the vibe it gave. Y'all, why was there rats running around everywhere? We got so many suitcases. I feel like everybody had at least 2 suitcases. So 7 of us plus a baby. You count that up. So many suitcases. There was rats running. It was filthy. It was filthy. The rats was climbing up in the bus. The rats was climbing up in the bus. I'm gonna put the videos in here. I don't know if I caught the video of the rats climbing in the bus, but I definitely caught the video of the rats.
So, what time is that for leaving?
Y'all, are you serious? Ew. I was already turned up. I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I cannot do this. Like, and I was already aggravated because of everything that was going on. We already been in Paris for a week too damn long. I'm ready to go. So, of course, in the midst of all of that, nobody speaks English. Duh, we in Paris, right? They speak French. So now we're like, okay, cool. Now let's try to communicate so we can see the proper information for our bus. Cool. My sister goes, she's trying to figure everything out. Guess what? They canceled the bus. They canceled the bus a few minutes before we were supposed to get on. It's 1:30 in the morning. Are you serious right now? And we got a baby? Absolutely not. So now, of course, we got to commute back to the hotel. Mind you, I told y'all it's already hard for us to travel and find some cabs that can actually fit all of us and all of our luggage. So that was already a hassle. We get all the way in, and now we're putting all the suitcases back into these big vans. And the guy was already trying to give us trouble, trying to charge us extra. If somebody comes up to you in a foreign country and offers you a ride, first of all, I don't even know how I feel about that. Depending on how it's set up, it could be a scam or it could be very, extremely dangerous. But also, they're gonna try to take advantage of you, because he told us he'll do all of that for $70, and then as soon as we packed up and started riding, he was just like, oh, $140, just because there was a lot of us and it was a lot of stuff we had going on. I was just like, typical, right? Typical. What else could go wrong? God said, oh, I'm about to show you what else could go wrong, because he did. Y'all, why some lady came up to me while we putting everything in the van, looking at my face. I'm already aggravated, but I didn't want to be rude, so I'm just staring at her, and she's staring at me, and I'm staring at her. We're just staring, and then she puts her phone on, and she clicks the phone, and it's my phone. I was just about to get in the Uber to leave, and she walked up to me and brought me my phone, because I had my, this is the wallpaper I had on. So she was just trying to make sure me and this person was the same person. I said, if I would have lost my phone in the midst of all this, mind you, I had so many bags, I didn't even hear it fall. With all the suitcases rolling, you won't even hear a phone drop. Y'all, when I tell y'all, at least one good thing came out of that, because if I would have left my phone there, somebody would have stole my phone, I would have been devastated. Yes, I have another phone, that's not the point. I would have been so devastated. And I have a track on my phone too, but that just wasn't the moment for that to be happening, Anyways, mind you, we was leaving the next morning, so that really wasn't the time. So anyways, they set everything up to where we just was gonna get on the flight. So we get on the flight, and we get to the airport, and the airport was very annoying, because they just have these different rules in France as far as when you're traveling with your family, and it's just so ridiculous. But that's a whole nother story. Like, you can't go in certain lines, and if you do want to go in a certain line with a certain person, it has to be mom and dad, not mom and grandma, not mom and daughter, not whatever's more convenient for y'all. It has to be mom and dad. So I was just like, what? That's mad dumb, but all right. Mind you, they told us after the other guy told us to come over here, so now we got to go all the way back. It was very annoying. So now, all right, cool. So now, my grandmother decides to reveal to us, my grandmother has seizures and stuff like that. She reveals to us that we all had like suitcases on our locks on our suitcases, that she put the lock on suitcase but doesn't know where the key is. Guess what the suitcase has in it? Her medication. Anybody that knows someone who has seizures, or if you're watching you have seizures, you know that you have to take a medication or medications daily in order to prevent this, right? So of course her medication gets locked in her suitcase. We looked all in her bag, it wasn't there. Now she's angry because she's like, I know the key was in there. We're like, Grandma, the key is not there. We look, y'all trying to make me feel crazy. Grandma, the key is not there. Let's just find out how to get this bag open, because we're ticking. And she didn't even get to take her medication from last night, I believe. I'm not sure, but she didn't take her medication within hours, and the time is ticking. So now we trying to get through TSA. Me and my mother was going all over the airport just trying to find a police officer, but we couldn't do it. So we're using Google Translation, but Google Translation, we talking into it, and if it picks up sounds in the background, now everything else in the background is getting mixed in, so they don't know how to read what we're trying to say properly. It was a whole big thing. Long story short, we didn't get the suitcase open, but we're like, look, we only got a 1 hour flight to London, so we'll be alright. I wouldn't change. Like, we could make it, right? We could make it. LOL, y'all. And I'm not laughing because this is funny. I'm laughing because literally, like I said, anything that could go wrong did go wrong. So we get to TSA, everybody's getting in well, everybody showed their boarding pass, not their boarding pass, everybody showed their passport, everything was good. Now when you go through TSA, what do you have to do? Make sure you don't have no liquid, make sure you don't have nothing in your carry-on bag, because they're gonna have to go through your bag. They'll either check it and let you keep your stuff, or they won't if it's over the whole liquid limit, whatever. My grandmother had a toothpaste in there. Of course she didn't know, it wasn't her fault, she did not know. But of course only her bag is the bag that's stuck, because they're like, oh, we have to put this bag aside and we have to check in her bag to get whatever it is out of her. The bag is locked and we don't have a key, and my grandmother has seizures and she did not take her medicine. This cannot be happening right now. This cannot be happening right now, y'all. I walk away to tell my mother, Ma, they not letting her bag go because they gotta check her bag. We sitting there like, just break the lock, because we can't we can't communicate effectively. We speak different languages. We like just break the lock. We're trying to tell somebody. My grandmother is like getting angry with the guy like it's his fault, but it's not his fault because she still feel like, oh, I had the key, grandma. Like at this point, y'all, she starts falling and she is having a seizure. Luckily, my stepfather grabbed her in time before she even hit the floor. He picked her up, put her on a chair, and she starts seizing, like legs shaking and everything. I'm like, oh my God, this cannot be happening right now. This cannot be happening right now. Like her health, that cannot be happening right now. When I tell you, everybody's looking at us in the airport, everybody, it's just this whole big thing. Now they call the medics. The medics only speak French. So my mother's trying to tell them, look, my grandmother is good. She just didn't take her medication. Somebody just opened the bag. My sister's boyfriend wound up just busting the bag open, done tore his finger, injured his finger. He had to get like a little thing on his finger. It was like so crazy. We're having a hard time communicating. My mother's like, she just needs to take the medication and she'll be fine. But they're like, no, we don't feel like she's okay to fly. This and the third. Our flight is in like 2 hours, and I know some of y'all like, oh, it's her health. The last thing y'all should be thinking about is a flight. But we knew she was gonna be okay. She just needs to take the medication, but they're not understanding that. My grandmother has been having seizures for over like 3 decades at this point, like maybe even more than that. My mother always cares for my grandmother. My mother know what she need when she need it. So it was this whole big thing. Long story short, they wound up helping my grandmother, giving her some water. She was well. She was perfectly fine within a few minutes. You know, we luckily got a Spanish translator, which my sister's boyfriend speaks Spanish, so that helped, you know, communicate with everybody. Everything wound up working out very cool. So now everything's cool. Everything's kosher, so to speak, I guess. Yo. You know when everything is going so wrong so much that all you can do is laugh? What else could you do? Because like if I don't laugh, I'm gonna hurt somebody or I'm gonna cry. So I'm gonna just laugh, right? So we get there, everything's cool. We get through the airport, we get something to eat, grandma's fine, you know, this, that, the third. We get to London. Mind you, we're in a hurry to catch this flight because we're literally running late. I done left my sweater on the bench, had to run back and get my sweater while we was on the line through that TSA trying to get through. And then the second TSA? No, they had to check our passports, whatever. Had to run back, went and got it, whatever. A lot of things was everywhere. They was giving us problems with our carry-ons. Like it was just so much stuff going on, whatever. But we wound up essentially making it. We took the flight. Now we in London. Woo! We in London finally. Let's catch a different vibe. So my mom had put her bag in another bag because we was trying to compress some of our items, and everybody was so focused on hurrying up. My mom was caring for a child, my sick grandmother. Like my mother had a lot on her plate, and one of us left her bag on the damn plane. My mother said, where's my bag? I'm looking at everybody. Everybody's looking at everybody. We all looking at each other. Her bag was left on the plane. Her personal bag with her ID and everything. Because we were all accounting for each other's stuff. Like we were all responsible for each other's stuff because we was rushing that much. Like if you see somebody just leave, so just grab it. Like we're all going to be together anyway. Her bag is left. My mother starts bugging out in the airport because once again, what else could possibly happen? What else could possibly go wrong? Her bag gets left. She's going crazy in the airport, whatever the case may be. Everybody's arguing. You know when black people start arguing in these certain states about who last and this, that, and the third, they called the cops. Because they trying to tell my mother she can't see nobody for 2 days. We got there on Saturday? 2 days. I wasn't hearing that. I was on it. Like I was a little bit more sane to try to handle the situation, which essentially I still did wind up finding out a solution. So that was pretty good. But y'all, they called the cops on us because it was just such a big commotion. Like fully suited guards, like fully suited. It was at least like 5-6 of them. I'm like, we gotta chill because we're black. We're in a different country. They're gonna look at us like it would be crazy. And I know it's a lot of black people in London, more so than Paris. But it was just like, they don't care. Like, we look ghetto and crazy, like, you know how that go. So I'm like, officer, everything is fine, like, we're good, you know, we just, you know, she lost her bag, we just trying to figure it out, everybody's emotions everywhere, we're good, the cop was cool, everything's good, all right, cool. So now we get to the hotel is beautiful. London had way better vibes. We love London way better. I would go back to London any day. Paris, I would go for like a week and go shopping, just do little things and get up on out of there. Really nothing that hot to see, to be honest. It's like really an old fancy type of vibe. If you're not going to shop, you just might be bored. It's not a place for kids or people who are uninterested in certain things to go, okay? Mind you, in Paris, we did go to like a pub or whatever. We did have a good time, which I'll enter some clips of that. We had a good time. Like, we was dancing, we was doing all the way too. Like, that was probably the highlight of the trip. We was on our scooters, like, doing our onesies and twos. Like, that was probably the highlight of the whole Paris. But London, like I said, was a better vibe. You know, we had a nice hotel. The hotel was better. We was by the water, lights. Like, it was cool. It was nice. All right, cool. So now I'm so happy to say that, you know, London was way better. Nothing bad happened. We went to a party, we had some fun, like, it was a way better vibe, and it just kind of brought the trip in together. But Paris was just a disaster. Like, oh my god, it was just so many things going wrong with whether it was us, whether it was whatever we was dealing with the, what do you call it, Parisian Paris, those people. No shade to them, but it just was a lot of nonsense going on with that situation and just adjusting. And I'm just like I said, I would go back to Paris, but I would have to go in a different way and just enjoy it different. I told my family, I said, I'm never going to trip with y'all again. I said, I'm never going to trip with y'all again because y'all's crazy. Y'all are crazy. Like, it's just too many different people to tend to, like old people, babies, little kids, young adults. Like, it's just too many different groups to tend to, and it's just like, how could you do everything as a family when it's just too many different things going on? You know what I'm saying? So that was it, y'all. That was my little story time. I just had to tell y'all. I was just this is a story that goes down in the books. I said, next time, if y'all don't say family trip to a resort, don't even count me in, because I'm not going. I feel like everybody knows, like, certain things they can do with their family and certain things they're like, nah, I'm gonna just pass on that. Like, I'm gonna just pass. But anyways, child, I am back in New York and I'm ready to get back to vlogging and doing my ones and my twos and threes, okay? I'm ready to get back to work and I'm ready to get to it. So make sure y'all go and check out my last vlog. I'm probably gonna put this out before I even post my vlog, but stay tuned. I'm about to post my vlog after, and then I'm gonna probably post, I feel like I'm gonna post the Paris story. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, to be honest, because I wanted to post the regular vlog first leading up to Paris, and then the Paris story time, and then I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But look, they all gonna get posted, so just give it a week for everything to be posted and we're gonna be good. Anyway, y'all, I done bought some food and I'm starving and I gotta go edit this video. So y'all have y'all good night. Thanks for tuning in. I'm happy to be back once again. And yeah, let's the story time about this moving company losing my clothes will be coming soon too, so stay tuned for that. I got so many damn stories to tell y'all. Anyways, later, bye.